Why do they come back after rejecting you? Oh, that's a big question, isn't it? It's a strange feeling, being cast aside, only to find her circling back as if nothing happened. But there's always a reason, a pattern beneath the emotion, and when you begin to see it clearly, everything changes. This isn't about getting her back. It's about understanding your power and why it unsettles her once she walks away from it. So whether you're in the middle of this moment right now, or you sense it coming, I want to give you clarity. Not just answers, but a mindset. A way of seeing yourself not as someone waiting to be chosen, but as someone who finally chooses himself. Let's dive in. These are the 8 reasons why she comes back after rejecting you, and if you find value in this truth, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Stoic Station, where calm minds and strong men rise. 1. She comes back because you're seen with someone else attractive. There's a strange moment that occurs when she stumbles upon a photo of you, standing confidently beside another woman who glows with beauty, presence, and joy. It's not just jealousy that rises, it's curiosity, doubt, and maybe a quiet voice whispering, "Did I misjudge him?" Attraction is often fueled by social proof. When someone of value chooses you, others take notice. She begins to wonder if the version of you she walked away from is the same man that woman now leans into. But what truly unsettles her isn't the image. It's the transformation she sees in your posture, your smile, your calm. You look like a man who no longer seeks validation, a man who now commands his own space without apology or effort. Still, tread carefully. If she returns only because you've become desirable in someone else's eyes, it speaks more to her indecision than your growth. You deserve someone who recognizes your value in silence, not only when it's celebrated by others. True confidence begins when you stop curating your life for her to see and start living it for yourself, not to impress, but to honor the man you've finally become. 2. She sees your growth. You didn't just move on, you transformed. Not in loud performative ways, but in the quiet spaces where real change happens. Maybe you started journaling late at night, untangling old thoughts. Maybe you hired a coach, confronted your patterns, faced the parts of yourself you used to avoid. You began showing up differently, more grounded, more intentional, more at ease with who you are. And although you never reached out to announce your progress, she noticed. Women have a way of sensing energy. It's not about a new haircut or gym routine, it's about the calm you carry now. The way your presence no longer reaches for approval, but simply rests in itself. She feels that shift. In your silence, in the way you carry your conversations, in the strength behind your boundaries. And that's what pulls her back. Not because you begged, not because you performed, but because your growth inspired her on a level that words couldn't reach. But this growth wasn't about her. It wasn't a strategy to win her back. It was about reclaiming yourself, piece by piece, truth by truth. You became someone you could finally respect, even when no one was watching. That kind of quiet power leaves an impression far deeper than charm ever could. When she comes back, it's not to revisit the past. It's to witness the man you've become. 3. She comes back because she's out of options or bored. There are times when her return isn't rooted in love, longing, or clarity. It's simply a response to silence. The dates have dried up. The attention has faded. The constant thrill of being pursued has settled into stillness. And now, the one man she once overlooked, you, suddenly feels like a safe place to land. But don't confuse her absence of distraction with genuine desire. A woman who reappears out of boredom is often still avoiding herself. She hasn't learned to sit with her loneliness, to grow from it, or to discover who she is without validation. That's not a partner. That's someone seeking relief. And if you become her relief, you also become her escape, and eventually her next rejection. You deserve more than to be someone's emotional layover. You deserve to be chosen when the world is full of noise, not only when it's gone quiet. So ask yourself honestly, if her phone was still buzzing, if her weekends were still full, would she still reach out? Would she still choose you? Because consistency may feel comforting when everything else fades, but real love is about more than timing or convenience. It's about depth, mutual clarity, and someone who values your presence, not just the pause in her own story. Let her go if her return is only a reaction to emptiness. You were never meant to be the filler between her distractions. 4. When you become the safe place after someone else breaks her. Sometimes timing draws two people apart before they've even had a real chance to begin. Maybe when you first met, she was intrigued, but emotionally tied to someone else. You sensed a spark, something unspoken between you, but she wasn't available to explore it. So you let it go. You moved forward. Life went on. Then, months later, her name appears on your screen. The message is light, almost casual. "Hey, just wondering how you've been." She doesn't mention the past, doesn't explain why now, but the subtext lingers. Something ended, and now she's looking in your direction again. In some cases, this can be genuine. She might truly want to reconnect, not from a place of loss, but from clarity. Maybe the relationship she was in helped her realize what she truly wants, and it points back to you. But proceed with caution. If she's fresh out of heartbreak, chances are she's reaching for comfort, not commitment. And you were always the safe place, the one who listened, the one who made her feel grounded. Now she might see you as a remedy, not a partner. The truth is, love that's born from someone else's ending carries the risk of becoming a bandage rather than a bond. Don't allow yourself to become a stepping stone on her path to emotional recovery. If she reaches back, slow the pace. Let her show through actions, not just words, that she's ready for something real. You're not here to fill the silence her ex left behind. You're not a second choice, a consolation prize, or an emotional crutch. You're a man of value, and a woman who truly sees that won't return because she's empty. She'll return because she's certain. 5. She's emotionally unavailable. She says she's not ready, that she's still healing, that she's confused about what she wants, and yet she never really leaves. She lingers on the edges of your life, appearing just when you begin to move forward, offering just enough connection to keep your hope alive, but never enough to build anything real. Her pattern is clear. She disappears when you seek clarity and reappears when she needs attention. It's not because she's cruel, it's because she's emotionally unavailable, but still craves the warmth of being wanted. So she reaches out, not to connect, but to feel something. And in doing so, she pulls you into a space where intimacy feels close, yet never arrives. This kind of connection is seductive, but dangerous. It feeds on your kindness and your patience, rewarding you with moments of affection that vanish the moment you ask for depth. And if you're not grounded, you start to confuse her presence with progress. But presence without commitment is just another form of avoidance. Emotional clarity is your armor. You've done the inner work. You know what you're ready for. So don't accept emotional breadcrumbs when you're prepared for something nourishing and mutual. If she can't meet you where you are, don't shrink yourself to meet her where she's stuck. Because love without availability isn't love. It's a distraction dressed in familiar comfort. 6. When she starts, second, guessing her decision. There are moments when silence becomes louder than memory, when the absence of something familiar begins to echo in her mind. Maybe she once told herself you weren't her type, that something was missing, or that she needed more excitement. But as time passed and the thrill of other options faded, so did her certainty. Now, That confidence in walking away has started to erode, and she finds herself revisiting what she left behind. She remembers the way you listened without needing to fix, the calm you brought into her chaos, the steadiness in your presence that at the time felt too safe to be exciting, until she realized how rare it really was. And so she circles back, not always because she misses you, but because she misses the feeling of being seen, being understood, being held in a kind of emotional safety she hasn't found elsewhere. Sometimes she's searching for closure, other times she's hoping for a second chance. But here's what you must hold on to. No amount of regret can manufacture connection. If the bond wasn't there before, it likely won't appear now. You can't force chemistry, and you shouldn't have to convince someone to value what you offered freely the first time. You're not a maybe. You're not a test run. You're the real thing. So wait for the woman who knows that from the start, not the one who only realizes it when her distractions fall away. 7. When she returns for the attention, not the connection. You've always been kind. You respond to her messages, like her photos, answer her calls, not because you're desperate, but because it's in your nature to be steady, present, and respectful. But somewhere along the way, she learned that your attention was a given. And now she comes back, not to rebuild something real, but to sip from your energy when her own world feels empty. It's subtle at first. She'll send a text out of nowhere, react to your story, mention a memory just intimate enough to stir something in you, and maybe, for a moment, it feels like things are shifting, like the door to something meaningful is opening again. But if you listen closely, not to her words, but to her pattern, you'll see the truth. She appears when she needs a reminder that someone still wants her, and disappears once she's full again. You start to feel confused, maybe even hopeful. But deep down, you know, she's not here for a future, she's here for a feeling. And if you keep offering your attention freely, without boundaries, you become less of a man and more of a mirror for her insecurity. Reclaim your attention, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. The man who protects his energy doesn't lose love. He attracts the kind that honors it. And when your presence becomes a privilege, not a guarantee, you'll finally stop being an option and start becoming a choice. 8. When you mistake her unavailability for value. It's easy to confuse emotional unavailability with depth, especially when you've been conditioned to chase what feels just out of reach. She was inconsistent, vague, sometimes warm, often distant, and somewhere along the line, you told yourself it meant she was rare, complicated in a way that only you might understand if you could just prove yourself worthy enough to unlock her. But let's be honest, that wasn't love. That was a longing to be chosen by someone who didn't know how to choose at all. Her unavailability didn't make her high value, it made her unreachable. And you weren't chasing her. You were chasing the feeling of being validated by someone who couldn't fully receive you. Real connection doesn't live in confusion. A woman who is whole won't leave you guessing. She will communicate. She will show up. And she'll make it clear, with presence, not just promises, that she sees your worth and respects your time. True feminine energy is not chaos disguised as mystery. It's calm, intuitive, nurturing. It draws you in not by withholding love, but by offering it with grace. So don't let the thrill of unpredictability distract you from what you truly need: clarity, honesty, and peace. You don't need to earn your place in someone's life through confusion. You deserve to be met with certainty. Choose the woman who makes stillness feel strong and love feel simple. After spending years observing, reflecting, and sometimes bleeding through my own relationship experiences, I've come to realize one uncomfortable truth. Many women don't return because they love you. They return because you've become useful to the version of them that now exists. That realization stings, but it also sets you free. In every situation above, whether she returns out of jealousy, regret, loneliness, heartbreak, or emotional confusion, you are faced with a test. A test not of your ability to win her back, but of your ability to remain true to who you've become. You are not here to be someone's second choice, emotional shelter, rebound, or attention dispenser. You're not a placeholder while she figures out what she wants. And if you are, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away with your dignity intact. Because the man who does the work, who evolves, who heals, who shows up for himself first, eventually learns this. Real love doesn't return in waves of uncertainty. It arrives with presence, with clarity, and with mutual devotion. Let me be clear, I'm not telling you to become cold. I'm telling you to become clear. You can be kind and still have boundaries. You can be open but not available to inconsistency. You can offer love without offering yourself to someone who hasn't earned your peace. The lesson here isn't about avoiding women who leave. It's about recognizing your own value so clearly, so unapologetically, that when they return for the wrong reasons, you don't even flinch. So here's my advice. Don't chase validation in a woman's return. Chase alignment in your own reflection. Don't mistake attention for connection, or longing for love, or chaos for passion. Choose peace. Choose presence. Choose yourself fully. Because when you do, the right woman won't return with confusion. She'll arrive with certainty. And she won't come to test your growth. She'll come to grow with you. If this message resonated with you, don't just watch. Live it. This is Stoic Station. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join a growing brotherhood of men committed to living with intention, stillness, and unshakable self-worth. Your evolution isn't just welcome here, it's expected.